Hi, I'm Sonia. Today we're going to be making my miso and pecan caramel cookies. So these cookies are really great because the outside stays really crispy, but the inside is nice and chewy. And the miso brings a nice umami flavor with a little bit of sea salt on the top. So first we're going to start with our cubed unsalted butter. It's at room temperature. And the smaller that you cut it, the better. It'll mix easier with the sugars. So then I have brown sugar here. You'd like to use a dark brown sugar, and we're gonna use a little bit of white granulated sugar as well. All of these will go into the stand-up mixer with the paddle attachment, and we're gonna cream these all together on speed number 1. So don't worry, all the recipes are going to be marked in the comment section below. So after this has been creamed for about 3 to 5 minutes and it's become a nice paste, it's nice and airy and fluffy, we're going to be adding our eggs. So we have 3 eggs here. These are large eggs and we're just going to add them one by one. So once all the eggs are incorporated, now it's time to turn up the speed to a medium speed. So once it's all come together, you're going to shut off the mixer for now, and we're going to use a rubber spatula to scrape down the sides to release any butter and sugar that had been stuck onto the side of the bowl. Once your dough has come together, now it's time to add in your dry ingredients. So shut off the machine. In this bowl here, we have our flour, all-purpose white flour, with some baking soda and some sea salt. And we've just lightly passed a whisk through it to get out the lumps. So on a very low speed, we're gonna add that to our dough.
Let's try to put it like a little bit more like this. So not remove it, just bring it back in again.
Yeah. The last step will be our toasted pecans. We're going to add that in when your dough comes to a nice firm consistency. When your dough has come together, you added in your pecans, everything is ready. We're going to shut off the mixer and take it down and take off the paddle. And we're going to weigh out each cookie to 60 grams on a digital scale so that everything is going to be nice and uniform before we put them in the oven. So next step will be to put on a cooking sheet. This is a 18-inch by 13-inch cooking tray. And we're going to always use parchment paper so that your cookies don't stick. And after weighing out each one at 60 grams, we're going to place them on the sheet with the parchment paper and slowly just press them down with the palm of our hands. So after your cookies are all weighed out and you've placed them nicely on your tray, patted down, we're going to put these cookies into an oven at 350 degrees for 12 minutes. We're going to rotate the tray halfway through, so we're going to do 6 minutes, then rotate and do another 6. And this recipe yields 20 cookies. So this cookie recipe is a great way to show off your skills at any of your family gatherings. Timer goes off of 6 minutes. Your cookies are ready to take out of the oven and let cool. So this recipe is a garnish for our pecan and caramel miso cookies. So I'm going to show you how to do the caramel part today, which is going to just be piped out on the top. So what you're going to need is, you're going to need some unsalted butter that's cubed and room temperature. We're going to need some white granular sugar. We're going to need gelatin sheets that are hydrated. So we're just going to place gelatin sheets that are originally a slightly different texture. They're dried out like this, and we actually need to put them in cold water to hydrate them, to be able to wring the water out and then put them into our hot liquid so they dissolve properly. Then we have some 35% cream here, and we also have a red miso paste. This is the one I like to use. It has a really nice depth of umami flavor, hence the white miso. And the red miso paste, this is what I have weighed out here. So we're gonna bring our white granular sugar onto the stove, and we're going to transfer it into this pot. So now we're gonna go over to the stove top with our pot here, and we're gonna put the white granular sugar in here to create a nice liquid amber caramel. So now with a wooden spoon, we're going to put it on medium to high heat, and we're just going to let our sugar dissolve into a nice liquid amber caramel. So now it's time to add in your butter to your amber caramel. And we're just going to let that melt. We're going to use a wooden spoon and just turn it around in the pot until it's completely melted. So the temperature for this is going to be at medium heat. and you're just going to wait until your butter melts completely. It might bubble up a little bit, so just be careful it doesn't splash onto you. So now it's time to add in our cream. So we're just going to leave it on a medium heat and add it in. And this part, your caramel can bubble up quite a bit, so please be careful. So now, after everything is well incorporated and there's no more separation of the cream or the butter, we're going to cook this until it reads a 104 degrees Fahrenheit on a thermometer. So now when your caramel has come to 104 degrees Fahrenheit, we're going to turn the heat to a low, and we're going to bring out our gelatin sheets that we've had soaking in some cold water. We're just going to wring out the excess water, and we're going to add those into our caramel and use a whisk and stir until they've melted completely. At this point, we can shut off our heat. And now we have our miso paste that we're going to add in last to give that lasting little bit of salt flavor. Again, we're using our whisk so that it can melt in nicely and that there's no lumps. Once everything is whisked in completely, your caramel is done. It's going to go in a container and in the fridge overnight to set up. So I have some miso caramel that I've prepared ahead of time here in this liter, and I'm going to show you how to put it in your pastry bag and cut a little hole on it so that we can pipe it out onto our cookies. You're just going to fold the top of your piping bag over like this. And you're going to open up a nice cavity here and hold it around your hand so that we can fill it up without dirtying the rim here, and that when we go to fold it back over, we're not going to have tons of caramel on our hands. So I'm just going to grab a little bit. You really don't need a lot here. We can just fill up a small portion in our pastry bags. It already smells amazing. Then we're just going to unfold what we folded over and push that caramel down to the bottom. Once we get here, we're going to cut a small hole at the end with a pair of scissors and make sure that the piece of plastic falls where you can see it, because it's quite translucent and you don't want that falling into any of your preparations. So now that you've cut the end off, we're ready to push all the rest of the caramel all the way to the bottom. And now we have a piping bag that is ready and loaded to pipe out on our cookies. So now your cookies are nice and cooled, so now it's time to garnish them. So we're going to take a little bit of our miso caramel in our piping bag, and we're going to pipe out small little segments onto the cookie. I like to put 5. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go in with some toasted pecans and some sea salt. And we're going to just crumble them on the top. These should nicely stick to the caramel, and a little bit of sea salt to finish for a nice salty crunch. So here you are. These are your final pecan miso caramel cookies, which are delicious and ready to serve to your friends and family, or even bring to a potluck. So on the comments below, you can mark any type of recipe that you would like me to do here. I can do cookies or any other things that you would like to see. And please like this video and share with your friends. And subscribe to my channel, and on to next time.